Hi, folks. Bill O'Leary here in this video. And the topic of this video is going to be what a step up in basis is. So in this video, you're going to learn three things. First of all, what basis is, tax basis. Two, what a step up in basis is. And three, how a step up in basis works. So again, by way of introduction, my name is Bill O'Leary. I'm an attorney and I focus on just a few exclusive areas: estate planning, wills and trust, powers of attorney, estates and so forth, elder law, and a lot of probate work. My firm is Legacy Planning Law Group in Jacksonville, Florida. So let's go ahead and jump right in. So when you're setting up an inheritance for a family member, taxes can be kind of a tricky point to consider. Well, luckily, a step up in basis concept, which I'm going to explain, can help anyone who inherits an asset save on tax costs in a really big way. So step up in basis, it refers to the adjustment in the cost basis of an inherited asset, an adjustment to its fair market value on the date of the deceased person's death. So cost basis, what is that? It's what determines, it's a way to determine the taxes that are owed when an asset is later sold. So cost basis, the starting point is with the price that was paid for the asset. You bought something for $100. Your starting basis is $100. The basis then can go up or down over time, sort of like a moving target. So the basis can go up. Let's say that you have made certain improvements or renovations to the assets. It can go down as well if, let's say, you've taken certain tax deduction. I'm thinking like, depreciation tax deductions for real estate or equipment or facilities, that sort of thing. So again, basis is a moving target, but the starting point is what was paid for. Capital gains tax, what is that? This is a tax imposed on the sale of what's called a capital asset. And capital assets include a variety of things like stocks and bonds, mutual funds, real estate, and so forth. A tax is owed if the asset is sold for more than the basis in the asset, okay? So if you bought it for $100, didn't make any improvements to it, didn't take any tax deductions, so that basis remained $100. You sold it for $150, then you're looking at a capital gains tax on the $50. So now, when someone dies, the basis is adjusted to what the asset is worth on the date of death. A step up in basis is what happens when the price of an inherited asset on the date of the decedent's death is above its original purchase price. And the tax code, you see, allows for the raising of the cost basis to a higher price, which then would minimize the capital gains taxes owed if the asset is later sold by the beneficiaries after they inherit it. So let me give sort of an easy example of how the step up in basis works. Let's say that your uncle leaves you a piece of property that he originally paid $100,000 for. And by the time he dies, it had appreciated up to a value of $250,000. So with that, you would be, if you inherit that asset, be able to get a step up in basis from $100,000, his original basis, to $250,000, what it was worth on the date of his death. And then you decide to later sell the property. This step up in basis that occurs will greatly reduce your capital gains tax burden. Instead of paying capital gains tax on the difference between the $100,000 and the sale price, you would only have to pay capital gains tax on the difference between the $250,000 that was worth on the date of death and the price that it was later sold for. So let's say you take that property, you inherited it, and let's say you sell it, just hypothetically, one day later after you inherit it. Okay, it was worth $250,000 on the date of death, and let's say it didn't go up at all in value over the course of a day. Makes sense. You then sell it one day later. You would have no capital gains tax at all because there was no difference between the date of death value and what you sold it for. Let's change up the facts just a little bit. Now, in this case, you sell the property 6 months later after your uncle dies, and you sell it for $275,000. Okay, so it went up in value by $25,000 over the course of those 6 months. Here, you have to pay capital gains tax, but only on the $25,000 that it increased in value during the 6 months between the date of your uncle's death and the date that you sold it. So as you can see, depending on your particular situation, a step up in basis really could save you a lot of money. Now, let's take a look at how big a mistake can be made where the basis is not stepped up. Let's say that you're the same uncle who bought the property for $100,000 5 years ago, decided to sell it 1 week before he died. His estate would be stuck with a capital gains tax bill that would be sort of tied to that original cost basis of $100,000 that he paid for it 5 years ago. So again, using that same example, paid $100,000 for it. It's now worth $250,000. When he sells it 1 week before he dies, capital gains tax would have to be paid. Okay, that means less money in the pockets of the beneficiaries. If only your uncle had not sold the property 1 week before he died, if only he had held it and passed it as an inheritance, all of that capital gain would have been wiped away. Now, of course, the value of an asset can go down from the date of purchase to the date of death, which would mean that the basis would be stepped down for the heirs, not stepped up. And that, in fact, happened a bit during the Great Recession of 2008, 2009. That said, most cost basis adjustments after death are step ups, not step down, because most financial assets that are passed on to heirs typically are sort of long-term holdings that were owned by the deceased person for a long time. And if held long enough, most assets are going to go up in value, not down. I also want to address the question whether assets that are passed down to beneficiaries instead of directly as an inheritance through a trust, do the beneficiaries also get a step up in basis there? Stay tuned. That's going to be a subject of another video, sort of part 2 to this. So if you'd like to know a little bit more about what a step up in basis is and maybe how we can help, we'd love to talk to you. So we invite you to schedule a discovery call that is free. It's a 15-minute block of time that we set aside to sort of start the conversation. Really easy for you to schedule the call. Just go to the scheduling link at the bottom of this video or go to our website, and there's a book your free call button there. Both ways take you to our booking calendar. Pick a day and time that works for you. If you've enjoyed this video, I'd ask that you like it, and also do subscribe to our YouTube channel, putting up more and more content all the time. So Bill O'Leary signing off for now. Go make it a great day and a better world.